Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox Online channel. We'll save it forever here. And here you guys go. If you guys are like me and you've been waiting for Top Gun Maverick to come to digital, it finally released. It's in the Xbox store. Highly recommend if you guys are Xbox Online like I am that you buy it there if you're going to go digital. Because as you guys know, if you guys belong to Bing, right, that you guys are going to get a little bit of kickback for everything that you buy in the Microsoft store or in the Xbox store, which is always good, right? So what I do is I just collect those points, take those points, and I turn them into what is literally real cash. And then I turn around and I spend it back into the ecosystem, which I'm fine with. I know some of you guys think that's a gimmick, and it is. I'm not going to say it's not. Um, but the bottom line is if you're going to spend money, I always want money back. Right? And so it just released, I think it released on Monday. But like I said, I've been waiting for this movie to come out on digital. It's been in theaters for the longest time, and it makes sense that it was in theaters for the longest time because for a lot of these movies now, as we all know, and I'm talking even big blockbusters like what Disney does with their stuff, right? The Marvel movies and stuff like that. Um, these movies tend to come out, make their little run in the theaters, and then go straight to digital, or with a lot of these corporations grabbing streaming services and stuff like that. Again, I reference Disney Plus. Um, by doing that, right, they're using that to try and put in add a little bit more cash. Um, the cash flow, like, right, they're getting what they can out of the theaters. It makes its run, which is very short, and then they put it in the streaming services to hopefully drive subscriptions. Kind of a plus and minus thing on that one. But for Top Gun Maverick, this is definitely something that bucks the trend. In fact, the kind of cool thing about it is, and the reason why they kept it in theater so long is because they just kept on making money week after week, end over end. Definitely has some drop-offs and stuff like that, but it stayed steady for the longest time, which I like for the movie because the movie, to me, this is the best movie of 2022. A lot about what people like about this movie because it goes across the board for a lot of different, when it comes to a movie like this, which can be considered generational, because Top Gun came out way back in the day. I remember it when it was high school when the movie came out, and so for its time and the type of movie it is, and even for the actor Tom Cruise, man, he's been around for a long time. Um, something like this, it's a throwback, right? And so if you're going to do a throwback movie, similar to some of the films or TV shows and films that you see on Netflix, specifically Cobra Kai, which I did a video talking about that and why it's so successful. Um, but Top Gun Maverick kind of follows that same formula. It definitely respects um, the movie that came before it, which is Top Gun. Respects the characters, respects the story. Um, actually develops a good story. Actually has character development, which a lot of movies are lacking now. Because for a movie like this, where it has a lot of baggage, is where it comes into play. Especially for people who are fans of the older movie. And then when you're trying to sell that to a new generation of moviegoers, right? That can be a tall task for anybody to do, but these guys pulled it off magnificently. One thing that I loved about it as well was the pacing of the movie, which I think a lot of movies nowadays have a problem with right now, is like keeping the pace, the orientation and everything as the movie progresses. Through what 2 3 hours for some of these movies, it just tends to lose its way, and it can't keep the audience engaged because a lot of times these guys can't keep the pacing on par with the way the movie's supposed to be and the story and the character development, and then you lose your audience. And for Top Gun Maverick, that was not the case at all. And it's kind of funny because it's a pretty simple premise, right? Given that it's coming as a sequel for Top Gun, and Top Gun is not the most complicated movie. It has a lot of cool action in it, of course. There's a lot of cool stuff about the original Top Gun movie. It's definitely an 80s film. But with Top Gun Maverick, like I said, it didn't take that stuff lightly. It paid homage to it, but then it kind of forged its own path. And in forging its own path, it didn't have to dump on the stuff that came before it. And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of fans like myself love about this movie. Right? It kind of respects that legacy. And it respects Tom Cruise's character, and it just doesn't make him the same character that he was because time has moved on, and the character's definitely aged. So instead of disrespecting that or trying to make him hip, where he'll appeal to an audience, which wouldn't make sense, right? Which a lot of people would not like, if I'm being totally honest, right? They actually take this character through some paces, man. They actually give him a little bit more a gravitas, if I'm being honest, right? Because he does kind of show his age, man. Tom Cruise is pretty timeless in the way that he looks. I mean, he's still kind of a good-looking dude. considerably. So I mean, I've seen this dude all the way back in the day with The Outsiders and All the Right Moves. I mean, that's how far back I remember him um, as an actor, right? And so with that being said, like flash forward to 2022, this dude is older than me, but he's still able to hold his own on the screen. But he is showing his age a little bit more. And so to try and make him something that he's not, but instead taking the time to, like I said, put this character through his paces, which I thought actually, you know, added to the story. And then bringing new characters on board that just complement him as well, and he complements those characters also, man. It's just not a zero-sum game when you watch this movie, and that's why I think it connects with a lot of different people. I talk about Cobra Kai a lot on this channel. I've done a couple of videos on it. That's why Cobra Kai is such a success on Netflix, right? It respects the story that came before. It respects the characters, and it's able to take all that history and bring it into a new generation and still maintain that type of respect for characters, even though you got something new as well. So there's something for everybody with Top Gun Maverick, and like I said, this movie was just killing it at the box office. It definitely uh, surprised a lot of people. It didn't surprise me, man, because I knew how good this movie was. It's good old-fashioned storytelling. It's good old-fashioned story development. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows what it is, and at the same time, it respects that history. And that's a lot of stuff that's missing from the current generation of movies we're having. It doesn't pander to an ideology, either side, right? It's just trying to tell a good story and give people a good time. And I thought one of the cool things that Tom Cruise did was when the movie came out, he was promoting it and stuff like that. Wasn't overly doing it at all, right? Leaving up to the audience to decide. But after that first week, it was such a big hit, right? Especially with all the stuff that was coming on before the movie release about how much trouble they were having with the movie. Given, and I felt bad for it because it was a during the pandemic and stuff like that, but they still pushed through it. And after that first week success, he actually came out and thanks the fans, which a lot of these guys don't do anymore. Right? A lot of stars nowadays, they like to talk down to people, like to put their ideology and their ideals, in front of their own products, and disrespect the consumers that they want to go and watch their movies, and they kind of get shocked when they say something stupid on social media, and people respond and like, right? I mean, if you're trying to sell me a movie, but you don't like the person that I am, but you want my money, well, sorry, I won't be spending my money on you. And the one thing that these people don't understand is that you're living in a time right now where they're not the only game in town. Like I am a pro Xbox channel. I spend a lot of my time in gaming, especially now that Xbox has Game Pass. Um, Also, there's a lot of other programming to watch, man. I used to be really into Disney Plus. I've kind of caught up with the library of stuff. They still have some good content and stuff like that, but their newer stuff is dropping off, right? So then they lose when Disney Plus loses me there. Then I just shift to something else, and Top Gun Maverick or something like that. Switched over to Netflix because Netflix has such a cornucopia of content. I know they have a lot of stuff that they do that's stupid, and I think they've learned their lesson, right? You see that they got really rocked by the subscription losses they have as far as their stock dropping, when the rubber meets the road and, you're in the inflation issue that we have now and the recession that we're going through and stuff like that, and when people start counting their pennies, this is what happens, man, and businesses have to course correct, and some of these guys are not doing it. Fortunately for us, Top Gun Maverick is not one of those casualties. It's actually a solid movie that everybody's been enjoying. So like I said, it hung out in the theaters for the longest time, right? It actually surpassed um, Avengers Infinity War, I believe. That it actually passed, as far as the US box office, I don't think it did globally. But still, it's a $1 billion movie. It's a huge franchise. Hopefully they'll come up with a sequel, and I'm pretty sure they're working on it. And with that sequel, hopefully they remember what got them there in the first place. That's one thing I love about Cobra Kai. It hasn't forgotten who its audience is. It hasn't forgotten you know, the honoring the respect factor that they have for the actual for the actual title. I mean, these guys are huge fans of Karate Kid that are making Cobra Kai, and that shows in the way that they're making the movies and stuff. So yeah, if you want to pick this up like I do, it's very rare that I will go out there and pay full price for digital movies and stuff like that, because you do run the risk of, you don't technically own the movie. You're basically buying a license to stream their content. This content technically is not your own. So normally when I buy movies, they have to be really cheap, or else I'll go buy the physical media. Which, to be honest with you, physical media too also has a timetable on it. It just lasts a little bit longer, at least in this day and age, for right now, than the digital stuff does. So that's why I kind of support Microsoft as well. They're trying to push back those barriers as far as digital content because, they're going in that direction. So that's one cool thing that they do. So I don't mind spending my money on it. And plus, you incorporate like a little bit of a kickback when you buy stuff on the Microsoft store or on the Xbox store or both, right? And then I use that money to actually go ahead and buy stuff that's on the store as well. So it's just recuperating some of the, it's a good kickback to have. Right, and I know a lot of people out there complain about Microsoft Store and Bing. Not a lot, but there's people out there that complain about it like it's a gimmick and stuff. And in a sense, it is. I'm not saying that it's not, right? But if you're like me and you buy into the ecosystem, it shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, like I said, the excellent movie Top Gun Maverick. If you have not watched it, highly recommend you do. So I believe you can rent it as well. They have it on Vudu. That's another streaming service that I use. So you can just rent it if you want to, but at the cost point of renting as opposed to buying, I just went ahead and bought it because I love the movie. I already saw it in the theater, and I'll definitely get my money's worth because I watched it several times over. My kids have not seen this movie yet, so I'm looking forward to watching it with them. But I think they'll really enjoy it. Uh, they kind of like Top Gun, the first one. They're a little bit lost in it, but I think this one's going to be more up their alley. So anyway, Xbox All In channel. I know there's a lot of stuff going on with Microsoft. There's a lot of stuff with Gamescom. I haven't put anything up because I'm trying to catch up. There's all the content I wanted to put up. Not sure if I'm going to get time to get to it. I've been playing Game Pass a lot, like I said. I just actually got into Coffee Talk Story. That game's actually pretty cool. I wanted to dive into Rumbleverse. I didn't know that was an XNS game. So if you guys play Game Pass like I do, and you guys got a full hard drive that's full, um, you guys understand the struggle. So I'm gonna have to find and move some games around that I'm playing right now. And of course, I've been playing Modern Warfare that released in 2018, catching up in that game, and that's been sucking away a lot of my time. I probably shouldn't have bought it, but it was on sale for $20. But I actually like that. I actually like that game, and I'm actually looking forward to Modern Warfare 2. I definitely will be looking forward to it when these games drop into Xbox Game Pass Day 1 once the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal goes through. So anyway, Xbox All In channel, host Sega forever. We out.